Hi everyone. I wanted to talk about one of the reactions that comes up quite a lot when we talk about our true nature or seeing through our identity or our sense of individual self. And the reaction is, but I like myself. I don't want to lose that. I'm happy with how I am. I spent a long time getting happy with how I am. I'm not about to give that up. I want to stay as I am, explore the world as I am, and leave me alone, basically. And fair enough, really fair enough with that reaction, because, yeah, most of us have spent a lot of time moving through periods of self-blame or comparison or self-loathing even, or feelings of inadequacy and feelings of just getting stuff wrong, really not liking ourselves, like really looking at ourselves and seeing some awful creature that other people are so much better than. And so we've had these periods in our lives, maybe some of us are in them still. And so to come out the other side of that and to assert our identity as good, I'm a good person, I'm worthy, I'm kind, I'm helpful, I'm talented, I have good ideas, that seems to be quite a breakthrough. And it's true, there's a lot less suffering there. And so it seems like something for us to hold on to. Like it's been hard won, this identity. It's useful. It gives us confidence, and we have self-esteem now, and we can do things that we could never do before. And it looks like it's because we now have this self-belief that we struggle to have, and now we have it. And for someone like me to come along and say that self-belief is belief in a self that doesn't exist seems to be pretty fucking annoying. Like, why would you say that? It's taken me years to get to this place. Why would you suddenly make me throw all that up in the air? And so we resist the conversation about true nature, or about ego, or about separate self, or about identity, because it seems like there's too much to lose. And also it seems that our whole experience of life is a result of that self. It seems like because that self is making decisions and is going about the world and is loving and is engaged and is passionate, it looks like if we were to question that, if we were to give up any of that idea, then we would no longer be this agent out in the world having these great experiences. And so not only does it look like we're giving up this hard-won self-esteem, hard-won liking of self, we're also giving up an incredible world that is there for exploration. And I wanted to explore how that holding on to this belief in self is just the other side of the coin to that immense suffering that we had when we thought that we were not worthy or not valuable or not getting stuff right. It's the same thing. It looks different, it looks opposite, but it's the same thing. Both of them are a belief in an idea of self that is entirely a work of perception, and it's entirely a creation. there is no objective truth in any of it, not in a good self and not in a bad self. And if we get very quiet with it, we can really see that, like, what is this self I'm believing in? All these lists, these adjectives that I can give myself, they just look real now. And in 30 seconds time, they might not look real. They might look real to me, they might not look real to the 200 people I know, which is right. Or they flip from one thing to the next, total opposites. All of it transient. All of it appearing from one moment to the next and then disappearing. And none of it is any more than a belief, a thought. It cannot be. There's no truth in what we think about ourselves. And this flips the whole conversation around, because we believed that in order to be okay, we had to believe more in ourselves. We had to pick out of the air these adjectives that we wanted to be: beautiful, successful, talented. I can't think of any. all of these things, doing well in our job, popular, helpful, loving, kind. All of these things, we can write them out. We can have mantras about them, and we try and fix them in our psyche so that they become believable. And this can be a life work, a life work to secure these beliefs. But when we see that all they are is belief, that's it, and they can never be anything more than that, then we really see what we're trying to do here. We're trying to fix thought. We're trying to secure thought. And it can't be done. It really can't be done. It's because what is it? What is thought? And what is belief? There's no substance to it. There's no objective truth to it. And so we can stop that whole thing. We can stop it. We don't have to believe anything about ourselves. In fact, the only genuine freedom is in really seeing that there is nothing there to believe in. There is no self, really. Like, if I think, what am I? Who am I? There's nothing I can describe myself as that is actually real. Even something like human, like what's the word human? All the beliefs that go with that word, and the distinctions and the categorization, all of that, a creation of thought, all of it passed down and commonly accepted, but that doesn't make it any more real, any more true. It's just accepted. And so what we can see is that no belief in ourselves, in our personality, in our actuality can be true, is objective, is independent of perception. And so we stop trying. And what is so cool, it's so cool, is that with the end of trying comes the revelation of who we really are. And who we really are is beyond words. It's indescribable. But we know it, like we know that that person is different from this person. But if we were to try and put that in words and describe it, we would so quickly end up in a sea of assumptions and false facts and opinion. None of it true, but there's an essence, there's an individuality, there's a life to all of us. And as this veil of what we think we should be, of how we think we should behave, of what we think people think of us, as that starts to thin, there's just this pure, sparkling life that emerges. And so when people fear losing themselves, all they're losing, all we ever lose in this exploration is this narrow box, this like limited box, one of those rooms where the walls are slowly closing in. We lose that. We lose that restriction and that trap and those chains and that heavy backpack of belief that we've been carrying around. We lose that. And what comes out is this sparkling essence of each of us that is unmatchable, that is completely unique, that is so beyond words, so beyond summary, so beyond description. But it's just this presence, this sparkling presence of each of us. And that comes through so much more strongly in everything, in our work, in our relationships, in our way of being. Because that's who we really are. That's who we are. Everything else, thought and belief, is not true. But the underlying truth sparkles through. So for those of you who want to hold on to beliefs about self, I would just say, consider the effort of holding on to a belief and the total freedom, the total release and joy of just being. And there's nothing like it on earth, and there's no greater gift that we can give to the world than showing up just as that pure space. No shields, no beliefs, no box, nothing, just pure life. And then the second area of concern was that if we give up this idea of self, that we would also stop experiencing the world, that we would not be pushing ourselves out there, we would lose all drive, we would lose the motivation, we'd lose the ability even to sense the world around us. Same thing. It's just not true. It's the total opposite. It's a total opposite. Because before, from this idea of who we are, this narrow fixed box, that was the world that we were seeing, through these veils, through these filters, with all these shields on. This is the extent of my vision. I can only see what conditioned thought is allowing. I can only do what my idea of self is making acceptable. I can only speak to the people I believe I could speak to. All of this is like such a narrow experience of the world that why would we want that? Why would we want that? There's not one single benefit of it other than apparent momentary safety, because we're taking refuge in this conditioned, limited view that we've believed is where our safety is, our security. But when we see that there's nothing secure or safe in that, it's just all it is just a limit. And we start seeing that the less idea we have about ourselves, the less we invest in any identity, the less we invest in the lines of distinction between us and others, and us and circumstances, us and emotions that are acceptable or not acceptable, we become this open space, an open space for all experience to come in. And we get to see it all, we hear it all, we feel it all, we experience it all. The blinkers are off, the frame's off. There's just life, experiencing life, the pure essence, the sparkling pure essence of life, experiencing the sparkling pure essence of life. Does not get better. Doesn't get better than that. There's nothing to lose. There is nothing to lose in this exploration, apart from old, hand-me-down, limited ideas. And there's an entire self and an entire will to gain. So there we go. Thank you for listening.